So, expectations. I think we're finally back to the present day. I've said this for like months now. I'm sure this time for real we're back to the present day. And someone is going to punch Saturn exactly like we saw in Sabaody. And then all will be right in the world. And then we are on to the final battle of Egghead. Then, not Dragon, then freaking Blackbeard appears. Well, not Blackbeard himself, but the Blackbeard pirates. And then something happens. Something. They're probably gonna yoink the Seraphim. Right? Something like that. It's time. Oh no, I read the title. Okay. Okay, here we go. Well, I mean, we have a very nice color spread at least. You know what has me very, very curious? Why do so many of these color spreads, why are all of them still Wano themed? Because this is like Wano. We have Momo, we have Yamato. Freaking Frankie's hair is a literal dragon. This is still like Wano. Oda, what are you cooking, my man? I just noticed Zoro's shirt literally says dragon. Oh, it's the year of the dragon. Let's just ignore that. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's the year of the dragon. I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay. Chapter 1103. I'm sorry, Daddy. Okay, let's go. Oh, we're not back to the well, we kind of are, but not really. Bonney, did you see everything? I did. Well, drat, I've broken my promise to Kuma. Oh, and she's small again. God damn it. I've said this before, but I love it when like the manga misspells stuff on purpose. Right? It's like not I'm, but ib. Ib, sorry, Vegapunk. I really hope that's not a misspelling, because B and M is relatively close on the keyboard, you know. What is it? This is a present for your 10th birthday. Kuma left it with me. What a beautiful sapphire. Once again, it's the freaking Nika symbol. Also, it's incredibly cold in here. It's the same thing. Is the 8 orbs surrounded by one? Well, not surrounded by. It's the one big orb surrounded by the 8 orbs. It's literally what we saw in the we saw in the thing. Very good. Oh yeah, I mean she says that the necklace is shaped like the sun. He said it'd be a good luck charm. 2 years ago, who could have imagined that boy turning into this? So Straw Hat is the son of Daddy's friend? Yep. I was shocked when I saw the two of you show up together. Fate is such a strange thing sometimes. I already see that this panel, like the last panel of the page, is probably Bonney being held up by Saturn. So what makes me curious, before I even read this, I'm curious whether there is more to this conversation that is not being shown to us. That seems like a classic Oda thing to do. He gave you a sapphire? Yes. Yes. While you were in this room, a number of dangerous things have happened on Egghead. The Straw Hat crew just saved my life minutes ago, in fact. I'll tell you everything. Let's go back and meet up with them when things have calmed down. I'm sorry, Bonney. In the end, I'm nothing more than a hired scientist. No, it's not your fault. It's all him. Yeah, I think there is something in between here that we're not hearing. Definitely they talked about something else. 100% they did. Because it's like they're sitting down and everything. Okay, let's go. Present moment, Egghead, New World. Jewelry Bonney the pirate. Your father, Kuma, is dead. No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back. Why can't I move? Food, someone give me food. I want to, but I can't move. Yeah, and Kizaru was just thinking about Sentomaru and Bonney. 100% he's gonna turn. A brand new Emperor of the Sea holed up on the island. I suppose it's too much to hope no one dies. They say it's a bigger siege than at Okura. Is Dr. Vegapunk going to be alright? If Kuma is off running off of some fragment of his true instincts, then where do you think he'll go, Eva? Okay, yeah, so we got that one. All the talk about, like, primal desires was about that. Kuma has, like, reverted to his primal instincts and he's just rushing over. Oh my god. Please tell me? Can I just make a prediction right now? Before I read ahead, I'm gonna do a classic Koroto thing. Please tell me this chapter ends with Kuma arriving and punching Saturn. Please. It's all I need. It's all I need. I'd be fine with it being not Vegapunk. I'd be fine with it being Bonney. I'd be fine with it being Luffy. I'd be even more fine with it being freaking Kuma. Because Kuma saw Luffy punch Charlos, that's his name. He saw him punch him there, right? And that's when everything changed. So if he sees him here, and also throws a nasty right hook, well, wouldn't that be a very, very nice cyclical bit of storytelling? If it were me, I'd charge Marie Joie without a second thought. Well, I mean, he kinda did, but he didn't. But Kuma's different. I think he'll... If I'm going to die anyway, I might as well take you down with me. Distorted future, Nika-like... Nika? This is like... Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. I'm getting weaker, why? I see you're his daughter, eh? And you know that name, but... you don't know what it is. She doesn't seem to have made the connection between Nika and the Straw Hat's white-colored form. Such a shame. Why such a shame? Oh, I think it's just him talking down to her. Yeah, because he actually vocalizes it. Who gave him food? Put Sea Prism Stone Cuffs on him at once. Hey, yo. It was Kizaru, right? It was definitely Kizaru. It was 100% Kizaru. 100% it was Kizaru. Who else could have moved? First of all, who could have broken through his I can't move thing? Number two, who is fast enough to get food? Lightspeed Uber delivery, exactly. 100% it was Kizaru. Which would also kind of nicely tie back into the whole... all of the... remember how we talked about why is everyone eating just before the siege began? That would be like another nice connection there. He's in a different position? Also, yeah, Caribou is also a weird one. I don't know what he's doing. Usopp shooting the food or Robin using her power on the food machine, but I agree it could be Kizaru. I actually really like the idea. Oh yeah, I hadn't switched the page yet. Yeah, Kizaru was sitting... Oh my god, you're right. Because he was lying down, now he's sitting up. I think it's Kizaru. I think him sitting up is basically Oda showing us that he has moved, right? I don't think it's a matter of him just standing up and it's like the fight's gonna go on. There are so many potential explanations to this, because you said the food machine. The food machine being brought back into this would be really, really interesting. If it is like Robin or something. Caribou is also another one that is completely unaccounted for, unless Caribou is meant to facilitate the Blackbeard connection. If that's what it is, then I like that. Or it could be Kizaru. A lot of questions about Kizaru's motives. I think Kizaru is kind of a, I think it's kind of the same thing that we saw with Aokiji, right? It's like, they want to work in the Navy and everything, and I think it's fine, but they don't really like this form of ultimate justice. It's like Kizaru said before, like, I'm just a gear in a system. I'm not sure he is, you know? Because I think it's like, Oda has explored this differently with characters like Akainu, right? The fact that Akainu is this absolutist, and now he's just chained to a desk and can't do anything. I think that's a really interesting way to explore it. Alright, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I can't use my age-changing powers on this old guy. How come? I gave you that power, Bonney. It was an experiment to see if an infant incapable of eating solid fruit could be given powers with an extract. So, he just fed her a smoothie? He just gave baby Bonney a smoothie? Is that what he did? I think he just gave her a smoothie. Its power might allow you to transform into any future. But the more you know of reality, the narrower your future possibilities become. What? What? So, her devil fruit is to look at every single quantum entangled future that exists. It's like a literal ultimate form of the quantum multiverse. But as soon as she observes these futures, she can no longer do it? What in the bloody hell is this? The more you learn of reality, the narrower your future possibilities become. What? So, like, she would be at her absolute strongest when she's young, right? Because she knows nothing, so she can do literally anything. This might be the weirdest devil fruit Oda has ever come up with, and it's not even close. It's insane. Alternate translation, its abilities are severely decreased when one's knowledge about future differs from reality. That is something differs from reality. I think that is something where I want to trust this translation more because I think this one has oversight. Because that is a very different implication. But then again, it's kind of also not. This is such a weird fruit. What the hell? What? It's more like self-perceived possibilities? Something like that, yeah. It's like, if Luffy's fruit... Because we've talked about this before, right? That, like, Luffy's power is his childish wonder. Like, the reason why he can do anything is because he has, like, that childhood curiosity. And Bonney's fruit is the literal manifestation of that. You know? It's like the meme of you start as SpongeBob, you become Squidward, right? When you become Squidward, you can't think of anything fun anymore. So that's when Bonney would become miserable. And the fact that this is coming from Saturn, someone who is supposedly immortal and miserable, he's a miserable old man, hits even harder. Let's keep going. We need to talk about this later as well. You want to believe in Nika, don't you? Oh, there he is! Nika is real. Ever since the day my father became a cyborg that obeys your orders, I've been searching for Nika, hoping that he'll be able to free Daddy. And your current weakness is evidence that you've begun to think he's not real. Your father believed in the idiotic, I guess, legend of the Buccaneers as well. He said to me, I want to save people like Nika does. Years later, I performed a chemical experiment on your mother, who was the 8th wife of a fellow in the Holy Land. Remember how we talked about, being comically evil? Let's tick another box to all Saturn over here. It was a failure. Those blue blemishes showed up again. It didn't have the desired results. I found it quite curious that the same effect was passed down to her daughter. So wait, is her fruit a result of the devil fruit smoothie? Or is it a result of the chemical experiments on her mother? Because I don't even know. I do really like the potential implication that, like, she has already been freed from the burdens of her past, right? Because the disease was cured. Smoothie, I think. We're just gonna run with the idea that it's a smoothie now. They're different experiments. It sounds like they are, but I'm not sure. What just crashed into the island? You did all of that. You did that as an experiment. Those sapphire scales tore Kuma's family apart. He gave up his life to stop them. And you had the gal offer him a deal, as you thought you were doing him a favor? Or gal, not gal. I mean, Vegapunk is now getting triggered. Put yourself in my shoes. Would you bother yourself with the feeling of insects? It is impossible. Listen, Saturn, let me give you a crash course in being evil. There are insects. These insects are annoying, right? You know how you sometimes find a spider in your house, you don't like the spider? So, a lot of people just literally obliterate it. That's what you do with insects. So when you see someone yelling out that he's Nika, you obliterate him. You don't go on a long speech, you just obliterate him. That's how you remain in power, Saturn. You don't go out on long, evil monologues. That's why you're gonna fail now, my buddy. A pacifista? No, he's got pads on his hands. Former warlord of the sea, Bartholomew Kuma, has appeared on the southwest shore of Egghead. He's proceeding toward the center of the island. The authority chip isn't working on him. He just won't stop. What nonsense is this? Kuma couldn't possibly be here. Stop him! Shoot him if you must! I can't even speak. I think my spirit is breaking down. Oh my god. Oh my god. Bro's just emerging from the fire. Maybe it'll be easier if I just die. Shoot him through the head? I'm sorry, Daddy. After all, you did... Oh no. Kuma, come on, man. Come on, man. Oh my god, I just realized what's happening! I didn't even realize that he caught her! Oh no, the fact that it's... Oh no! This is framed oddly similar to what we saw with freaking Jinbei and Luffy. And I don't like it. It's Bartholomew Kuma. I just saw the final panel. Wait, it is the final panel, right? Oh, it is. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so happy. I am so happy. I feel so vindicated. Everything is right in the world once again. Everything is right in the world once again. It's framed like Ace's donut scene. It is. It's framed kind of like it's framed both as the Jinbei and Luffy scene, and also like the freaking Ace donut scene. And that's what has me worried. That's what has me the most worried, that he's ticking both of the boxes. However, like I said at the very, very start of this chapter, it's Kuma doing the freaking Saturn punch. Honestly, I also want Bonney to do the Saturn punch, just for good measure. You know, we would have Luffy punching a Celestial Dragon, we'd have Kuma punching a Celestial Dragon, and we'd also have Bonney punching a Celestial Dragon. It'd be great. Also, yeah, Kuma is using Haki, which implies that his spirit is still alive. Not only does it imply that his spirit is still alive, it also implies that, like, his spirit is probably 100% supercharged because he saved Bonney. Because he was literally just talking about how he's basically falling apart, right? And then bro just throws a nasty right hook. It's even a right hook! There's a sweat drop in the final panel. I think there is. I think that is supposed to be a sweat drop, yes. This freaking chapter is literally... You know what it should have been called? You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Can we all agree that freaking Saturn is the worst bad guy to have ever lived? Like, he is such a bad guy. Imagine if he hadn't gone on this entire speech and just killed everyone instantly. Imagine how much easier all of this would have been. Imagine. Imagine if there was no long drawn out speech. Imagine if there was no insects. If he just, you know, if he just was an evil bad guy. Beautiful. This is beautiful. The freaking side-by-side panel of, like, Bonney just bawling her eyes out, and then Kuma, one of his eyes is missing. He's covered in what is presumably blood. And there's, like, electricity zapping around him. Oh, man. This punch will take 4 pages next chapter? I hope so. I'd love to know why Kuma attacked Marie Joie instead of going directly to Egghead. It was in such a hurry. Isn't it just a location thing? I am really, really bad with locations in One Piece because the One Piece map can get very confusing. Where is the kingdom? Doesn't he have to just fly over Marie Joie to get to where Egghead is? Isn't it just a matter of him having to cross? Yeah, exactly. I think the red line was just in his way. Kuma attacking Saturn's stomp is also impressive. It is. It is. To be fair, we don't know, like, his actual fighting capabilities at all, but we should probably assume that he is very strong. We should probably assume that he is very, very strong. And as much as I meme Saturn being, you know, an elder clown, it is very poetic that the one child who he probably, like, we still don't know what happened on God Valley, you know? I keep saying he let Kuma live on God Valley. We don't know what happened on God Valley. But it's so poetic that the one kid he came face to face to eventually is the one to literally knock him right in the face. That is so beautiful. That is beautiful. It's like that one tiny oversight. I'm curious where this goes from here. Because, like, this, I think most of us predicted. I think most of us thought that Saturn is going to get punched by someone. What happens now? I don't think Saturn is going to be defeated. I don't. I think, like, if Saturn is defeated here, it kind of undermines literally everything. We literally cannot defeat Saturn right now. We can hold him off, sure. We cannot defeat him. I do not want to see Saturn defeated here. Unless it is framed as a boss fight. Like a raid boss. Just like we saw with Childhood Head. If it's Kizaru, freaking Bonney, Kuma, all the Straw Hats, everyone teaming up against him, and we barely take him down, that would be cool. But, I don't know. And don't forget, we still have the robot waking up, by the way. We have the robot waking up, we have the Blackbeard pirates here. There are like 100 different things that are still yet to happen on Egghead. There are a lot of guns on walls, you know? Lots of guns on walls. Also, yeah, he needs to see Luffy. They absolutely need to see Luffy, even if it is his dying, like, the last thing he sees before he dies. Which right now, if we were betting on whether or not Kuma makes it out alive, I'm sad to say, but I'm leaning on the side of, you know, this might be his last mission. I hope not, but I think it might be. I think it might be. Because if it's not, I feel like it might undermine some of this. If he could be summoned onto the island, he most likely could be summoned away too. Maybe. 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 Saturn will be defeated / die. I am very, very torn on that, because considering the forces we have right now, like I said, if it is like a raid boss, and everyone fights Saturn, sure, right? It's just Saturn, we still have 4 of them. There are 5 Elder Clowns total, so if we take down just one of them, well, we still have 4 more, right? And if Saturn dies here, and it is the Egghead incident, because the Navy well, not the Navy, the world government, takes like the biggest L they could have ever imagined, because this wouldn't be Marineford. In Marineford, sure, some things went wrong, but in broad strokes, they kinda won, you know? Imagine losing an Elder Clown. Now that would be worthy of an incident. And if that happens, I mean, at that point, the final war is here. Like 100% the final war has started. And it would very much facilitate calling this a incident. At the same time, I'm not sure I want Saturn to die just as we meet him, you know? This is the first time we've seen him do anything. He's been fighting for like 3 chapters. If he actually dies here, I feel like it kind of undermines the threat of the 5 Elders. In a weird way. Because if you remember how we were introduced to the Admirals, once the Admirals came into the story, it was such an absolute power that it was insane. Can you even remember Aokiji's introduction? Like, we were literally frozen in place, and he just rode off on his bike. He was like, just done, you know? So if we see one of the 5 Elders now, and it's him just like being defeated right away, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If Saturn dies the second that happens, the Blackbeard pirates are going to swoop in and do something horrible. Well, something that I feel like is important to return to is Dressrosa, right? The Jesus guy was trying to go after Sabo's fruit, right? Even once Sabo ate it, he was still trying to chase him down, and I think didn't he try to go after Luffy too? Well, whatever the case, he was going after living people with a knife. So I'm still not entirely sure how the fruit stealing process even works. Maybe they can still stash it away somehow. I don't know. I don't know. It would make narrative sense for Saturn to be defeated, given Oda's pattern design for sagas. It would also make sense for Saturn to be defeated because it's kind of like the same thing we saw in Marineford, right? I say I don't want him to go down this fast, but we were also introduced to Whitebeard. He fought for Marineford for like a few chapters and he died. That was his purpose. He was a big name, and his death sent a message, right? Like, Whitebeard wasn't the ultimate dude, but he was a very, very big dude. And with his death, well, we went into the final saga, basically, right? Well, not the final saga, the New World saga. So it both makes sense, I think, but there are also arguments to raise that it does undermine his strength in a weird way. There's so many things that are still unresolved on Egghead that we talked about this with the bingo as well. There are a lot of guns on walls in Egghead that are still yet to go off. The Seraphim are trapped. They're not defeated, they're trapped. There is an ancient robot that is still waking up, by the way. Luffy is now eating, so he's going to be back up. We still have Caribou somewhere. There's still a Blackbeard ship on the way. There are so many things that still need to come into play in this final act. And these are not like long-term things. All of these things are a part of Egghead. Like, if the robot wakes up and it doesn't happen on Egghead, then what was the point of him waking up, you know? If the robot is OP and annihilates him, that would be great. If it is the robot, it is a bit of a Deus Ex Machina, I guess, but it'd be still pretty cool. We've sort of known Saturn for 2 decades. We have, but we don't really know, like, the freaking implication that he actually has a devil fruit or anything hasn't been relevant for very long, right? They were always these dudes scheming. And sure, there were theories that they're incredibly strong because, you know, they have the obligatory scar across their face, but that was never confirmed. Like, when we first met Blackbeard, he was a Mega Chad. Like, the first sight we got of Whitebeard, he was the most mega of all Mega Chads. When we first saw Saturn, he was just an old dude. So, we have known Saturn for a very, very long time. But the implication of them being actual powers hasn't been confirmed for very long. If Saturn dies, but Garling, I think that's Garlic, takes his place, Garlic is going to be very important, and we could even learn how Gorosei become immortal through him. That could be interesting, I guess. But I'm not sure that's how it works. Like, would he be the one taking over? But you raise a good point. You raise a good point. Because my thought process was like, the whatchamacallit. Talking about Blackbeard's fruit, I always thought that the explanation of how he steals them would be kind of a reverse deal, right? Like, we would never learn of how Blackbeard steals fruits with actually Blackbeard himself. So if the way we learn of how to become immortal isn't actually with someone becoming immortal, but because someone dies, that is again like kind of a reverse explanation that I think would be pretty neat. I'm not sure though. The first thing we saw of Whitebeard was with him sick in the chair. Well, yeah, but he was still on a ship, he was still an emperor, and his name was Whitebeard. And then he also had the meeting with Shanks, right? So even though, yeah, you saw, like, that bits of sickness, I think like, the message he signaled was still, like, strength. Whereas the elders, to me always at least, they sent the message of, like, political strength and sway. I think it's fair to assume in a shonen series that, like, a mysterious council of dudes are strong, but I'm just saying that, like, it hasn't actually been confirmed for long, you know? And especially, like, what his fruit actually is. Because, like, his transformation was such a big deal. And, like, keep in mind, I'm just arguing for both sides because I think it's interesting. I'm not saying that it's not what it is. I think it does also make sense that he is defeated. I'm just saying that, like, with how big his introduction was, I think there is an argument to be made that, like, if he's defeated now, it just kind of undermines that. But I can definitely see what you're saying. Should be hit by Kuma's paw, right back to Marie Joie so he doesn't lose or win. Actually, that would be very cool. Oh my god. Oh my god, we've talked in circles for such a long time, I didn't even realize we're back to reverse Sabaody. What if that's what it is? What if Kuma... What if it is, once again, a reverse Sabaody? In Sabaody, Kuma bopped all of us. In reverse Sabaody, Kuma bops all the enemies. Maybe that's what it is. But he uses hockey, right? So I think he implies to punch him. I don't think this is supposed to be a bopping. I think this is supposed to be a, I hate you and I will punch you in your ugly old face. So, I'm not sure that's what it is. Garlic has the power to execute celestial dragons. If anyone can be promoted to Gorosei, it's him. I guess that makes sense, yeah. I guess he has, like, a lot of influence in that sense. The God Knights are, like, a whole concept that are very, very interesting to me now. Because the fact they're introduced comparatively late, it is like the standing army, basically. God Knights are the soldiers that help the 20 kingdoms. I think so too, yeah. I think the God Knights are basically like the standing army they have, just in case anything goes wrong. I think the God Knights will be basically what fight the final war, right? Because with the final war, if the Navy doesn't work for the world government, I mean, do they really have an army? Not really, right? So I think that's what it's going to be. I can totally see Teach taking Saturn's fruit. We talked about this with the bingo as well. I think it does, because that would turn Blackbeard into a literal devil, right? So he would, like, yeah, he would become a literal devil in the story, which would be cool. But the whole Blackbeard ship stuff here is one that, like, it could go a number of different ways. Seems younger than the other four, both in appearances and mannerisms. That is another interesting point, yes, because they vary in age. And I wonder why that might be. We don't know for how long they've actually been alive, right? So maybe there is, like, some sort of replacement mechanism for them. I don't know. I keep going back to like the lore we saw in Sabaody, right? Of the what was it, 20 kingdoms, I think? I think all of that is going to still be relevant in some way. Jupiter also questioned the others why Luffy's food had its name changed, so he's new to some information the other Gorosei are privy to. Very good point. So maybe, yeah. Maybe there is a, like, replacement mechanism, which would make sense, right? If you are a council of evil dinosaurs, you probably want to, like, cycle the council all the time, right? I hadn't even thought about that, to be fair. Because we were so caught up with Saturn that the fact that he looks like exactly the same. I didn't even consider the fact that, yeah, one of them looks far younger. They become immortal later because you need someone with for each other, which takes time to master the fruit. Probably. But like, I find the whole, if it is indeed the immortality surgery as we know it that is important, I kind of find it interesting that they're not concerned with lost fruit too. You know? Because wouldn't lost fruit also be equally important for them? I feel like there are a lot of things that are missing for this evil scheme. A lot of holes in this plan. Did you touch on the 8th wife aspect? Do we want to touch on that aspect? Because I don't think there's much to touch on. I think it's meant to be exactly that. It's just like in every single medieval story where you want to make out someone to be a bad guy. There might be like story implications of that there might be like other families and other children running around, but the number 8, I'm not sure. I mean, if you really want to spin up some theories, there are 8 orbs around the sun. So if Luffy is the sun, there might be 8 people that are important for the liberation of the world. So we would have the Hands of Liberation. We would potentially have like Bonney, being the second one. But then we need like 6 more, right? But I don't really like that. I don't know. I don't think so. 8 wives, maybe he had 1 per century. Yeah, I'm not sure if because the number 8. I'm not sure. Because, like, yeah, technically he could have just thrown out, like, one of his wives. That would have been, I feel like, just as impactful in terms of conveying that, like, he literally values nothing. You know, and that he basically... you know, I'm not gonna say the word, but you all know the word. Let's not get the stream blasted. You all know the word. It would have still implied that, right? 8th. And then the 800 years. I feel like there is something to spin from there. But I'm not sure. And what was the experiment? Blue blemishes. What was the disease that Sanji's mom had? Bonney just said her fruit doesn't work on him, so I don't know if Kuma's would. Well, that's the beautiful thing about hockey, right? If one hockey is stronger than the other hockey, then the hockey works. If one hockey is weaker than the other hockey, then the hockey don't work. Ditto for devil fruits. So we just look at one number, look at the other number. If one number exceeds the other number, then it worked. Then yes. But yeah, I have no idea. I assume if he's able to block his attack, maybe he can overpower him. But was he actually someone else's 8th wife, or was it his 8th? Oh yeah. I'm not sure, honestly, because he does say of a fellow in the Holy Land. It does sound like, you know, I'm asking for a friend. It does sound a bit like that, yeah. But honestly, I think it could go either way. The whole, honestly, maybe this is like a translation thing. The whole way the sentence is structured is a bit monologue-y, you know? Years later, I performed a chemical experiment on your mother, who was the 8th wife of a fellow in the Holy Land, you know? It's like the whole, who was the 8th wife of a fellow in the Holy Land? It does feel like oddly specific. Of a fellow in the Holy Land. I mean, I don't want to go there, but like, you know how Emu is obsessed with Lily? And if the 1 wife per century thing is true, you know how we joked about the fact that like he might be mad because she broke up with him? I mean, did not put 8 without a meaning? Yeah, this is one of those times where like, yeah, I'm really torn. I'm really torn, because normally I would be like, of course not. Like, who puts an 8 with no meaning? Of course the number is important, because the whole sentence sounds odd. But it could also just be to convey how evil he is, and I'm not sure. I'm 50-50 on this one. In the scans, he didn't say fellow? Well, that's what I mean, right? I think this is something that might be... Like, you should probably put more credence in this, because this has what I assume is direct input from Oda, in some way. Whereas the scans are literal. And Japanese, from what I know, is like very context-based. So I think like words like this, like fellow or mine, the meaning could just change based on context. And it's important to understand the context. And because the context here is purposely vague, it could be like a mistranslation, but I'm not sure. Charlos had a specific number of wives too. Let's look at Charlos. You know what I'm very curious about now? the whole experiments and everything else, I'm wondering if we have like a royal blood situation, you know? Not to get into spoilers, but if you know, you know. Sharlos has a total of 8 wives. He previously had 13, but dismissed 5 of them. And that's what I mean. Is this Oda just throwing in a number? Because it's like, look at this guy, he has like 8 wives. He is... Wait a minute. No way, right? No, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, because no, it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, because Sharlos is only 22. 24 now. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. He looks like he's 85, but he's not. It doesn't make sense. But yeah, like what I was saying, it's just like, it could be an arbitrary number to just throw in like how despicable they are. What has me more intrigued, we talked about like Bonney's fruit appearing, right? Why did Bonney's fruit start to manifest if she always had it? That's what I'm curious about. I still find the fact that they literally made a smoothie and it was supposed to be a big experiment so funny. It's like, you can't eat a solid fruit, so we'll make a smoothie for you. How genius. Bonney's fruit might be like Bonney's fruit. Like let's just be blunt with this. Bonney's fruit is entering like JoJo Part 7, Part 8 territory with how oddly specific it is. It's like, you can manifest any future, but if you know this future, then you can probably not manifest it because it's like too separated from your dreams, right? So you can only do your dreams. And then the freaking the guy he's fighting against draws it on a piece of paper, and that's how the stand user is defeated. It's like, the dude draws Nika, you now know of Nika, you can never be Nika, ha! And then the villain loses. It's literally a JoJo battle. It's so... What is this? I love it. It's so oddly specific. It's incredible. So that's like takeaway number 1. Takeaway number 2. Saturn might just be the worst bad guy to ever live. He's very, very bad at being bad. Incredibly bad at being bad. Imagine for how long he's been staying around. Just standing around. All of them could already be dead. He's just vibing. What a bozo. Also, Dragon appears. Big thumbs up. It means that he's going to do something, surely. Also, I like how it still conveys that of all the people, Dragon was still closest with Kuma. Or I guess Kuma was the closest with Dragon. That's cool. That's cool. Who gave Luffy food? I think it's Kizaru. I think. And I think it would be even better if it's Kizaru, but Kizaru won't help us actually fight. He's just giving Luffy a chance. I think that would be even more clever. In the same way that like Aokiji let let Robin go, right? I think that'd be pretty cool. And then the smoothie. The smoothie and blue blemishes. Wait, Saturn... What was Saturn? Saturn was the god of time, right? Kuzan let Luffy go, Fujitora let him go, and Kizaru doing the same thing follows a pattern? Very good observation, very good observation. Very good observation. That said, you know, there is the rule of 3s as well. The first time you can break the pattern is on the 3rd one, right? So there is also that possibility. Saturn was of science? Google tells me he's the god of time. Is it science? Because if it is science... Saturn scientist. One Piece. Yeah, oh my god, you're right, he was the scientist. He was science and defense. Okay, you know what? That does kind of lend credence to me thinking... Okay, listen, this is going to be the last big theory. Last big theory. Years later, I performed a chemical experiment on your mother, who was the 8th wife of a fellow in the Holy Land. If he considers regular people as disposable and as insects, who do people experiment on? Well, rats, right? Or just some kind of bug, something small. So if he considers people to be that, what if he is just taking these wives, one at a time, and experimenting on them, one after another? I think that is actually something that may lend credence to the fact that yes, it is Saturn. And the fact that he talks about it was a failure, those blue blemishes showed up again, it almost sounds like Vegapunk. You know, with the whole, my stuff was a failure because of this one issue, right? Time was involved. Yeah, he is a scientist in One Piece. Like, the general mythos around Saturn is that it's the god of time. That's what I was remembering, not actually the One Piece version. There's a sign on the noodle from previous chapter on the panel where Luffy's being fed. Wait. What chapter did what chapter did Kizaru eat? I mean, there is a ball, and Kizaru ate from a ball. Could it be the same ball? I don't see any signs. I see a ball, and I see that the ball has a pattern, and I remember Kizaru eating from a ball. Oh my god, it's the same ball. It's the same ball. Yeah, I just googled the picture. It's the first thing that came. I hope this is right? Because this is a picture apparently from Reddit. It's from the Reddit One Piece power scaling. Just a picture of Kizaru eating noodles. And it's the same ball. It's the same exact ball. I'm very curious about, like, his ability to take away powers, though. That's what I'm very, very interested in. What about other balls in One Piece? I was going to Google that, but I don't know if it's going to bring up any results. One Piece balls. Of course. What do you think is the first thing that comes? It's a freaking straw hat turned upside down. One Piece manga eating panels. Well, here's one with a ball, and the ball doesn't have anything on it. Oh no, never mind. False alarm. There's a cover for chapter 766. It has the same exact pattern across the top. Literally the same exact one. I think this might just be a ball that Oda likes to draw occasionally. I even have a specific reference number. 766. On the cover. Luffy is eating, same ball. Again. Well, it looks like the same ball anyway. It might just be a cool design that... it's like the Universal S, you know? Everyone likes drawing the Universal S. This might be Oda's Universal S. Because he has drawn the stacked up balls. That's like the thing in Japan, right? Where you get the small soba balls. I think there are a bunch of those as well. Those are dark usually. False alarm. False alarm. Imagine if a ball was relevant. Freaking One Piece theorists looking at balls. It's just a popular brand? Probably, yeah. Anyway, this chapter, I don't want to give it quite a 10 out of 10. Because I think it's a warm-up chapter. I think next chapter, though, when we see the punch, presumably the punch. Unless... oh my god. Imagine if this is all a subversion. If the reason why this is a cliffhanger is because Oda means to subvert this. And Kuma just blows up in the next panel. We just literally open the chapter and Kuma's blown up. That would be miserable. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen. This is gonna get like a 9.8 out of 10. 9.8 out of 10. A very, very good chapter. I loved it. I enjoyed it a lot. Next chapter. The punch. That's for certain. And I wonder whether it's finally time for the... Could it be a case of all of us going down one by one and that's when the robot finally comes into play? Because, like, if Luffy is now eating and he's going to get back up, but maybe Luffy getting back up will once again, like, you know, the drums of liberation, that's when the robot will wake up, because Luffy has once again started fighting. Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. A bit of an odd chapter, to be honest. I don't know, this is like, a lot of things are coming together, but it feels like we've been talking about this for so long, that it's kind of like, I don't even know. It's a very weird one, because it's not quite a catharsis chapter, but it's also not quite a build-up chapter, right? We're still right in the thick of the conflict. Oda is unrelenting with Egghead. It's insane. I do think we should keep in mind the fact that, like, Vegapunk's and Bonney's conversation is cut short. I think if all the theories about Vegapunk disconnecting from the server and becoming an NPC do turn out to be correct, we should keep in mind that Bonney might have heard something. And Bonney might be the person who gives us lore. Because I find it very, very interesting that they're sitting down, they're chatting about stuff, and suddenly we smash cut to the present day. No shot is there not something missing there. Sunday, January 21st. So there is a break. There is a break, yes. We'll be back January 21st, again on both YouTube and Twitch. If you're just joining, there will, as usual, be a cut-up version on YouTube in a couple of hours. I'll just cut it up right after the stream, so we'll be all good. Thank you for joining me, and then I'll see you back at some point in time, soon TM, hopefully. Have a good one. Bye-bye.